So while she's setting up, let you know we're brought to you by Arlene's Cat Camouflage. Speaking of cats, if you live in an apartment that doesn't allow cats, you might want to shop at Arlene's Cat Camouflage Boutique, home of the hollow ottoman.
I really think there's a real sort of American traditionalist vaudevillian sort of New York thing about Lach, and I think he sort of keeps it this freewheeling variety type thing, which is it's almost like just postmodern variety show, if you will. And I love it. So more power to him.
I said this once as a quote. To me, I think that Lach brings a particular sensibility, and I compared it to the sensibility that the Clash brought to punk rock, which saved punk rock from its own inherent narcissism. And I think that singer-songwriters, as a rule, we can drift into a kind of narcissism. There's something about Lach's attitude and also in his music which holds certain things in the world important, even if it's only a well-placed anarchy.
Yeah, so the first time I saw him at the Sidewalk Cafe, it was very much like I'd read in the magazine. He was like a cerebral punk figure, but more hard edge than I would have really expected from the magazine. He really had some kind of like really gritty vibe about him. That to me, when I was a teenager, was a little frightening.
It's like you can hate people who play, and like even his invitation to make fun of people like at the very end is like really nice, because you know every musician thinks that like they might be better than like other ones that are there, and it's funny to make fun of people. It was cool that he was like open about that, and also cool that he would turn off the light sometimes on people. I was never that person, so I mean, to some people that's not funny, but to me it was really funny.
How does Lach keep his rich chocolatey brown hair?
I never really noticed that it was rich and chocolatey brown once I noticed some dandruff.
I can only, philosopher that I am, Socratically pose another question, which is, do you mean, how does he keep the hair that he has chocolate, or how does he keep his hair, period?
I don't know. Maybe it comes from his soul, his chocolatey brown soul.
Knowing that your hair is the best quality of your body.
Oh yeah, here it is. He keeps his ear to the ground.
Here at the Monday Night Antihoot, my name is Lach. I'm your host, L-A-C-H, Lach, and I've got several co-hosts and sound bitches that work for me.
What was he like as a boss?
He's pretty much a jerk all the time, you know, coming in and messing with my board and switching my EQ around and everything. But, you know, I mean, I think he did it to make me tougher and to make me a better sound person. So I appreciate, you know, him being paid in my ass these last couple of years. It's been fantastic. I'm really going to miss that.
About a year and a half ago, John Berger told me that Lach and Sidewalk was in need of a sound tech guy. And so I just reached out via MySpace to Lach and said, hey, I can do that stuff, you know, what's the deal? And then I kind of moved into running sound. And, you know, the cool thing was I got to know a lot about, like, Lach and the Sidewalk and you know, meeting all the various characters. You know, obviously I'd had a really good relationship with Debbie Dalton coming in here, and so it was good.
Wait, you had a relationship with her already?
Yeah, Debbie, just through other open mics. I used to go to a bunch of different open mics. DTUT, Creek in the Cave. I used to just go to a bunch of different open mics, and I never really, you know, came back to this one, not for a really long time. And then once I started running sound here, I started coming pretty regularly, and it was cool. You know, I got to see Lach really more outside of this place early on than I would see him inside, because, you know, we would talk about the stuff that needed to be done. And, I'd meet him one day with Henry and hang out. And also, Lach was really kind of giving in the sense that at the time I was kind of struggling with drugs and alcohol, and I needed to maybe take a second look at things. And Lach was a catalyst for me to go to a couple meetings and learn a lot more about myself, and also made me realize, like, wow, if I want to do something different, I need to be in control, and that was really helpful. So.
What's it like to work for Lach?
Working for Lach is intense because, in case you missed it, Lach is a very intense guy. And we had a lot of things in common, and so we worked really well together. But he knows what he wants, and he is willing to take risks, and he's also a very smart businessman, and so he will always rise to the top. This guy's always going to float. And I've always found that I had something to learn from him. I'm sure I still do. As he moves on, I think whatever he does next is something we're all going to get to look at and say, wow, he's still going, he's still doing it. He's a real special guy, that Lach.
Okay, the thing about Lach is that he can spot a fraud at 100 paces, and he will pop your ego like it's a fucking soap bubble and leave you with what counts and what's real. And he finds that in everybody, and that's one of the reasons that his scene has been such an amazing time.
How do you think Lach keeps his rich, chocolatey brown hair?
I think he does this a lot.
How do you think Lach keeps his rich, chocolatey brown hair?
I think it's that whole thing about time not being linear. Every time he loses something, he just goes back in time a little bit and it just grows right back.
I think you need to focus on those glasses, man. They are killer. That sort of nerdy chic, like...
Peter, I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's time for the weekly game show, What the Fuck? Where you, the audience, get to win valuable prizes left behind earlier in the year by other performers.
Well, he creates excitement in the air. He's very sensitive to people's nuances and everything that goes on around him, and I guess that just puts people more on their guard and just heightens the experience for everybody. And he's very witty, fast thinker, and very much, thinks on his feet in addition to writing very solid material of his own that he can repeat in various opportunities. He can even use his material to work for any occasion. It's flexible material, yet it's solid songwriting.
The thing about Sidewalk is, and the reason I think it's been so captivating, at least to me, is that it's a place that is totally focused on creativity. And it's really great to be surrounded by people, all who are equally as interested as me in creating something and putting themselves wholeheartedly into what they're working on like that. Certainly I've had an opportunity to do a lot of great things, to move forward with songwriting and photography, and it's been great for that as well, just to have a place to work all that out. And on the social basis, it's really good to have a place where you see the same people week after week after week, and in addition to practicing music and songwriting and whatever else, you can practice dealing with people, and for the most part, the next week they seem pretty glad to see you no matter what you said to them the week before, so you can get better at that sort of thing as well. So Lach, I don't know how much of all this you intended when you started off, but you created this world, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So thanks a lot, and good luck with everything.